Welcome back to the Are You in the Book podcast. My name is Eric Wobanaw, the president of the Baseball Bluebook, and today we are excited to have the head coach of Miami-Dade College, Coach Llanes. How are you, sir?
How are you? Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you having me on the show, and thank you to Blue Book as well.
Well, thank you very much. Excited to have you on, and was introduced to you by our good friend, Coach Draghi, up there in Westmoreland County community. What a great coach. And so going from Western PA down to South Florida, it's baseball is alive and well and going. Those guys are still struggling and fighting the cold weather. So love to jump around the country talking with coaches at all levels, but my favorite is the community college, the JUCO programs. I think it's such a great facilities and organization, and such a great opportunity for the high school player. And so, looking forward to talking to you about your program and really JUCO in general, kind of what's going on in the world of baseball. But let's go ahead and get a quick introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your journey to being the head coach.
Yes, thank you. I started really early in my coaching career, coaching high school at the age of 20, and working my way into situations that allowed me, without really having a game plan, just the love and passion for the game. We started at a very small school, a local school, Inter-American Military Academy, and uh, 3 years in, I was a head coach there, and then became an assistant coach for Rich Hoffman, which legendary coach, someone that I have not only a lot of respect for, but someone that I learned a lot from. At the time, we were nationally ranked with some of the best players, not only in our area, but players that went on to professional careers as well. So over the course of those 2 years, I, I probably feel like it's what kind of put the stamp of approval on where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do the rest of my life. Um, then I entered another area, just making sure that I finished school, um, and I got that done, and then went on to coach at Archbishop Carroll High School. Um, then I kept up. I created an organization called Selective Recruiting while I was an assistant principal at Monsignor Pace High School. They also had great baseball teams, but I was not involved in baseball. I was more in the educational stuff. And during that time, I kind of cemented the idea that I could make more of a difference to players than just the actual, just a passion for the game. Coaching is something that I've always loved, but I entered this other area and started scouting professionally, um, as an associate scout, and with the Astros. Then got the part-time job with the Chicago Cubs. Later moved into a full-time job, being the scout for uh, Puerto Rico and South Florida scout for the Marlins, and uh, and then later with the Milwaukee Brewers, same area, Puerto Rico and South Florida as well. The opportunity came about to to be the head coach at Miami-Dade College, and there is a certain passion to that idea. There's been too many people have been a part of that program, the history of that program. A lot of friends that uh, that played baseball there or attended school at Miami-Dade, and it was a little bit more than just taking a job to coach. It was something more of a passion, and just wanted to learn more and get to feel what uh, the legends that have coached in the past at Miami Dade College, people that I have ultimate respect for, and Charlie Green and Steve Hertz. Um, and then I've learned a little bit more as we have gone about um, Demi Maneri as well. He was coach there for a very long time, a baseball legend as well, and I've gotten a little closer to learning more about the history through his son, Paul Maneri, who's the head coach right now at University of South Carolina. So a lot has come about, but the passion of being able to educate, the passion of being able to provide a something that I feel is missing overall in the game, um, and helping our youngsters become successful in the future.
I think that's great, Coach. I appreciate the kind words and the opportunity to kind of dig into a little bit about what you had just said there. You said there's something missing. I like to go that direction a little bit. You've done a lot of the education, caring for the kids, looking for the development from an academic perspective. Baseball has been a passion of yours. So many different things at the high school level, the scouting, and now at the junior college level. Talk a bit about what you mean by the missing piece of baseball and what you're doing about it.
I think the biggest thing that I have learned through time is that um, many friends, many people that have been a part of the baseball program uh, have always brought up the idea that they wish they would have finished school. They wish they would have uh, not just been a baseball oriented mindset,
Yeah,
right? In in essence, I got to get a lot closer to many of the coaches. Most recently, under the helm of Danny Price and his assistant coach Kevin Long, which was someone that was adamant as well about the academic end. I think that what uh, what I bring to the table is just simply that it's part of who I am, my DNA, and it's about their future. Uh, Surely, we want everybody that plays in our program to move on to the next best situation, and if they're able to play professional baseball, I think we're all on board. Um, but I do really believe that when they leave Miami Dade, they have to be a better person, and they have to be able uh, to move along in their careers and have a better chance to succeed.
I think that's great. Are you seeing kind of the lack of focus on the academic side part of kind of what's happening with and you see this across the country. It depends on where you are. The high school baseball is less important or less focused on in certain places, right? It's the travel ball, it's the elite teams, and now it's just all baseball. The high schools have that focus on the academics, right? You can't play unless you have a certain GPA or you have the certain grades. Do you see that as part of maybe the issue of being very focused on baseball at such a young age, and then when you get to that collegiate level, it makes it difficult to kind of balance kind of your priorities and what you want to do?
That's a great question. I think as parents, we we feel the urgency of making their kids understand the value of it. right? I really believe if you have the foundation at a very young age, you're definitely very capable of being successful academically. I think the hardest thing is from a social standpoint. There's so many different views on which route you should take, and many ideas, many roads, many uh, uh, just simply routing the idea that you can always go to school, you can always accomplish things, but right now let's concentrate on baseball. And
Yeah.
it's hard on parents. It really is. It's hard on the players actually because um, there's a part that of them understanding they know it has value, um, but when you feel comfortable and have the conviction you could do well in school regardless of whether or not you're putting the time into it, if you can spend more time on the baseball field, your chances of being a professional player are going to be better. And even though there's some truth to it, I do feel you can balance it out.
Yeah, that's certainly an important part because you do have this I can go back to school kind of mentality. Let's focus on the young, right? Your window in making it in baseball is it's very small, and no, and I certainly hear you on that, Coach. So talk a bit about bringing the academics, your background on that, and at the JUCO level. Why is it such a great fit for so many kids, and helping bring that balance of the academic side with the ability to play baseball, the opportunity to be on the field more, and really honing your skills on the baseball side, but also the balance with the academic.
Yeah, I honestly uh, look, the way I would talk about this would be more in my case. And out of respect for other coaches at other schools, I couldn't tell you how they accomplish. There are way too many coaches that have been doing this for a very long time that I have respect for. So I can't really talk for them. But um, my job as a baseball coach is to make sure they develop as players. And there's an automatic transition to being a better person and a better student as we go into the development piece, because it's a little bit of it's just maturity, understanding that it can be done. And I really feel that they need to be in a position of power. The position of power is if you have a stranglehold on the things that you can control. I get that you don't control scouts drafting you, or which schools recruit you, but what you can do is take care of the things you can, and you're in a position to be able to succeed in life. And that's really what it all comes down to. But it really starts with the development piece on the baseball field. As much as I brought up the academic, it really does come down to development on the field, because you need to buy into getting better. And and then there's the part where we're not going to settle. Now they do have their time for school and they do have their time for baseball. So um and identifying the importance of each is part of what makes them a an overall uh student athlete.
You know, here's the $1 million question, and you talk about the development side, and it kind of leads into success in other areas. But the $1 million question is, how do you identify those players, right? At the JUCO level, there's so many things, right? Again, our audience is parents, they're players, they're also coaches trying to figure this out if they're picking up the nuggets from other coaches. But that is the question. It's uh, I'm looking for kids that are in the are in a good place so that they can develop, right? It's not just picking random kids that say I like baseball. How do you identify that? And you've got such a background of scouting, of identifying potential and projectability and the difficult things that maybe it's just gut. But I'd like to hear from you when you're now recruiting for players at the collegiate level. It's not just the baseball acumen, right? It's now the development ability and the academic side as well as the baseball. Talk a bit about how you have formulated that. What do you go through, your coaches in identifying these players?
Eric, obviously it's not an easy task. I have to start with the idea in mind that you're going to win with talent, right? You're not going to win, and we are all about winning. I do really believe that without that, as you find the route to becoming a better player, winning is a big part of it, and also the understanding of what is acceptable and not acceptable. Um, that's the hardest. So um, there is a starting point. You're looking for talent, and then amongst those that are talented, who are the ones that are driven? From those that are driven, which ones are more capable of succeeding under any circumstances? The ability to make adjustments as a player, the ability to be a good teammate. Sounds like a lot of things, and if you ask a player, they will probably tell you that they have all of it. But in reality, it's something that you go to a game and you'll see it. And there's just sometimes when you mention the word gut, there may be something you see in a game that tells you one or the other, but at the same time, you really don't know that person well enough to say that if whatever he did on that day is who he is. So it's a small sample,
Yeah,
and sometimes all you have is that one day to be seen, and uh, there's no way for you to recruit and know 100% that the type of heart a player has to play this game and what they're willing to do to be successful.
that's great, Coach. I appreciate that. And real quick, make sure that you guys are subscribing to our YouTube channel, also Spotify and Apple. Today we are with Coach Llanes down at Miami-Dade College, and excited to hear about just his philosophy as far as building the program. We heard a little bit about the journey that he's taken to get to where he's at. I love this conversation because this is the one that sets teams programs apart is being able to identify the talent in the small sample size, right? It is tough. And you had to do that with the scouts, right? Making those calculated decisions of bringing people in. And you know what? A lot of that pressure, and not saying that the pressure hasn't been there forever in the collegiate level, but that pressure is certainly increasing at the collegiate level because of all the things that are happening at the major league level, right? You're all of a sudden pushing this talent and the development and the progression of these players down to the collegiate level. JUCO's always been there, right? JUCO's always been kind of that place where the development happens. 4-year programs utilize the community college, the JUCO, the 2-year programs really is the feeder programs, the minor league programs, right? And so it's really important for you guys to go out there and do it. Coach, the program, the such success and the history. If you guys don't know Miami-Dade College, I encourage you to at least if you're in the Baseball Bluebook app, you can look them up, find all the information about them. These guys are championship driven. Coach has just mentioned we're about winning. It's about winning. It's putting good talent on the field. Coach, talk about your philosophy. You've mentioned the development. You talked about the small sample size and finding people's heart. Dig into a little bit about that. You go to a showcase, you go to a high school game, you've heard about these players, you've got your list of players. When you go there, what are you looking at? Like what's you got an hour, right? And you can't see him pitch a whole game. You can't see him hit for 30, 30 at bats. But you got that hour to really sit there and focus. And when you're driving to the field and what's going through the mind and what are you expecting and what are the things that you're going to be looking at most specifically?
Well, the starting point here is your contacts, the people that believe in these players. Um, this is how that's kind of the starting point. I will know who are the players that are well thought of. Where the breakdown of the player as a person, as a teammate, his abilities, what is he capable of doing. To me, history is huge. I can't really say enough about that, and I think that's one of the hardest things to do as a recruiter. Is hard enough to go see them when there's so many players, but at the same time know their history. The coach that's recommending him might only know him for 6 months, 10 months, a year and a half. What happened before that? Where did they play? And those are all things that matter. They just matter altogether. So the starting point, as I'm driving to the field, I am not thinking about who I'm going to see as much as um, having continued conversations. When you're in recruiting mode, you're going to be in recruiting mode. It's you're looking at it from that point of view. You also may be looking for something very specific, considering you know what your team needs
Yeah.
are. So it is really difficult to put a finger on it. Now, once you're on the field, I really believe that everyone is in play. Okay, there's something that you may see. I think one of the hardest things for coaches to explain is there's a certain type of player you like, and you probably won't admit to it, but we're all like that. There's
Yep.
something that you're looking for, and you find it, and that's who you want. A lot of it has to do with previous experiences, and you see a player and say, man, he is just like someone that played for us that was a great player for us.
Yeah.
And you can't, you can't put that aside, and there's really nothing players and parents can do, coaches can do about it. That's just something that, is it's instilled in us over time. So that's a little bit of what the reality of recruiting is. Then you see him perform, and when you're going to see a certain player specifically, that's a little different because now you could see what he does before the game, during the game, uh, what he's doing while the game is going on, in the dugout. You kind of want to know as much as you can about a player. But if it's a showcase event, that's a lot harder to do, obviously.
Now, Coach, I love it. One of the things that we talk a lot about with the Baseball Blue Book, and the reason why we did it is we think of it as a baseball resume, and that baseball resume can really start at the very beginning, and having coach recommendations. I mean, you thank you for explaining that on kind of what you're doing from a recruiting perspective and having such a good insight of doing this. The coaches are fully aware of who you are, right? It's not like they're going in blind. They pick up the phone, they talk to your previous coaches, they understand kind of what they're getting into. And then the other thing I love, Coach, is I hear a lot from coaches. I do this all the time, but it's about the fit, finding the right fit. You just brought another term that I'm going to use, and it's about feel, right? The fit is one thing, but the feel, does it feel right? And that's where you got this science and art kind of blending together of the act, the all the analytics and the statistics is the science of it, but that feel is that art and that gut. And when you go in there and it's just, man, he reminds me of somebody. He carries himself. Coach, I got to tell you a funny story. I had one coach up in East Coast, and he talked about watching the kids in the dugout, and if their mom brings them a Gatorade. And we had all these people go, that's crazy. And the coaches are like, no, we already know we like the kids. We know what they can do. Now we have to start, kind of narrowing down the field, right? And how do I determine the difference between player A versus player B? It could come down to something as simple as that. Talk a bit about that field more. I love that. And I talk about the gut. What do you feel it inside? Are you like, man, there's just something about that kid? Talk a bit about that and how you go through that part.
Yeah, one of the hardest things for me to do is to talk about what I like to see, and the reason for that is because it's not like there's a magical formula, and people just have to follow it. But the things that are always discussed, uh, are essentials. Players that have that intrinsic motivation that they don't have to be motivated. They just do it on their own. Hustle. For me, that's a huge part, and and just how they carry themselves. There's guys that are low motor, high motor, uh, high energy type players, and you want to be able to answer to ourselves that question when you see them.
That's awesome, Coach. This is such good insight, and I appreciate the opportunity to have you on. As we are wrapping up, we just got a few minutes left. I'd like to hear about the program. I mean, Miami-Dade. If you're from South Florida, everybody knows Miami-Dade. It's a huge campus. I mean, there's a ton of kids, and such a pool of talent down there. Just talk about the campus and what people can expect. And being an academic person, what are some of the programs that are highlighted at Miami-Dade?
I think the biggest, probably the biggest of all, is the resources. I think that's huge because every student has different goals, and Miami Dade is actually now a 4-year school as well. So for those that do go for baseball, they're going to play the 2 years and then leave, but they can actually take electives towards their future major. And that to me is probably a big one of the bigger things for me. But what is amazing about Miami Dade is that there is continuous movement towards finding ways to help students in general, not necessarily athletes, but just students in general, to be able to afford it, and to give them every opportunity to succeed. And I think that that's probably the biggest. That would be probably the model to follow. We're very lucky to have a president that is so interested in seeing improvements overall, which includes athletics. We just brought soccer, men's soccer back, and we added also women's soccer, and that's also been a blessing as well. So there's a movement towards. We brought back we brought lights to play night games. Miami, even though we've had the incredible history, we didn't have lights to play at night. Now we have them for all the sports. So there's a lot to be happy about Miami-Dade College.
That's great. Coach Llanes, I appreciate you joining the Are You in the Book podcast. You guys can find all the information about the coach as well as his program in the Baseball Bluebook app. Make sure you download it. Again, subscribe to the channels. We love having you part of these. Coach, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck with the season, and appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. I really appreciate what you stand for and what you're bringing to our youngsters overall. And I'd like to thank also Blue Book as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.